Ostis. Good evening, ladies. You both have 2 minutes for opening statements, and Councillor Hughes will begin with you.
Great. Well, I want to welcome all of the other ward councilors and the ward council candidates to Ward 5. So we are very happy to have this. And I was thinking back tonight as I was pulling into the neighborhood club, the first time that I came to this candidates night, and I want to thank the Adams National Historical Association for putting this together. It has been a long journey, and we've changed many things in the ward, including in my own house. I bought a house not too far down the street here and added 2 children to it. So it's definitely been a lot of changes in these past couple of years. And it's been a privilege and really wonderful to serve this ward, the ward that I was born and raised in. And my husband and I love Quincy. Again, just a great place to raise a family. But we've done everything working together these past couple of years together as a neighborhood, from putting street signs up, from making sure stop signs are adhered to working over this winter on digging out the fire hydrants. I heard from so many of you about certain challenges over this past terrible winter. And then of course we faced several challenges that were really unforeseen. The hospital, which is obviously something that really touched this ward, and of course the city, but really this ward and this neighborhood in a particular way. And we're still feeling the effects of what's going to happen and how to meet the challenge that development in our city is really posing to our neighborhoods, and making sure that the integrity of our neighborhoods and the strength of our family-centered neighborhoods really is protected while the city continues to grow. And those are the challenges that I see in our city, in our ward, in Ward 5. And I'm excited to continue to work towards making our city a better place and meeting those challenges and working together with all of you in order to make sure that our city moves forward in a responsible way, but also in a way that pays tribute to our history and our heritage. So,
thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ostis, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. My name is Gina Ostis, for those of you that I haven't met yet. I have lived in Quincy for 15 years. My husband and I have lived on Estabrook Road for 12 years. I'm not originally from Quincy. I'm originally from Boston, specifically in Brighton. I entered this race, really, I feel like it's kind of a natural evolution for me. The work that I have done in the past, I have been in the restaurant hospitality industry as well as the healthcare industry, both highly service-driven industries. I lived on Cape Cod for about 11 years and actually had my own catering business as well. So I have lots of passions. One of them is food and entertaining. So I was in that business for some time. I entered the race really just to serve the constituents in the ward. I see a lot of things that are lacking, a lot of lack of communication, and I would like to be that. I recognize that, as a counselor before me said, I recognize that not all people are on social media, that we have a lot of older people that don't use computers, don't want to use computers, and that's their right. So I recognize that, and I know that people need to communicate in other ways, and I hope to do that. And I ask for your vote on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ostis. Same question now for both of you. What is the most pressing issue that needs to be addressed in your ward? What actions do you, as the ward councillor, plan to take on this issue? We'll begin with Councillor Hughes.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, in particular in this neighborhood, the hospital is a challenge, which also brings to mind the great challenge facing our city and our ward, which is development in the city. And as we recognize, and as Gina spoke about, the fact that we have folks who've lived in this neighborhood for 50, 60 years, folks like myself who've lived here their whole life, and new people who are attracted to our city for so many reasons, and making sure that development, because we are an attractive community for development, and moving our city in a responsible way is good, but making sure that we pay tribute and make sure that the integrity of our neighborhoods is preserved, and that as we grow as a city and as things change, again, the hospital, what's going to happen there, obviously December 31st is a date that we're all looking at. I've been speaking with the nurses up at the hospital. I've been talking to a lot of folks in the community, really making sure that what's going to happen there is something that we want to happen there. And I think that making sure that everyone is listened to and preserving the integrity of our neighborhoods again, but recognizing that Quincy is great for development, and while that's exciting, we want to make sure that we do that responsibly. And the hospital is a great example of that, of some area that is changing, and that we have to make sure that we have somebody minding the store with the experience, with the knowledge that I've been able to gain over these past couple of years about the job, about the neighborhood, and about our city, that person is able to take control of that situation.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes.
Thank you.
Ms. Ostis, same question. What is the most pressing issue that needs to be addressed in your ward? What actions do you, as the ward councilor, plan to take on this issue? 2 minutes, please.
There are many issues, and it depends on who you talk to. So, for instance, I held an event the other night at the Fenno House. So for a lot of the residents there, one of their issues, and they are totally frightened by this because a lot of them don't drive anymore, is that Hannaford's, so Stop and Shop has merged or is going to merge with Hannaford's, and they're very concerned about Hannaford's perhaps moving out and some kind of development going in. I don't really know what's going to happen with that. I'm just giving you an example. So for those residents there, that's a pressing issue. Right? So there's a million pressing issues. It depends on who you talk to. And then you knock on somebody's door and you get someone that's just frantic about the fact that they have this big gorgeous tree in front of their house, and that's wonderful, but it hasn't been pruned back and it's going into the wires, and so for them that's a pressing issue. There's tons of pressing issues. It really depends on who you talk to. In terms of whether I get to be the next counselor in Ward 5, I would address those issues by going to the proper people and trying to resolve those issues for the people. So there's many issues. There's larger issues. As Kirsten said, development. We need a hospital. There are many things, but really it's just listening to the people and taking those small things that are going to make their life a little bit better. I ask you for your vote again on November 3rd, and I thank you for coming and joining me this evening. Thank you very much.
Ms. Ostis, thank you very much.
Let's start meeting like this.